Alright, so right now we're adding our grains into our 5 gallons of water that we've heated up to 170 degrees. You got the spoon? Alright, so we got about 15 pounds of grain going into this right now. He's going to slowly stir it as I dump it in. That smells so good. All right.
Get the number and put it in.
Where'd you put it?
It's on top over there.
All right, so we got our 15 pounds of grains in there, and now we want to try and maintain a temperature of 151 to 152 degrees for an hour. Just drop it straight in. Alright, so we got our 15 pounds of grains in here, and we heated the water up to 170 degrees before we poured them in. And once we poured them in, the grains absorbed quite a bit of the heat, and it dropped it down to about 156 degrees, which was pretty close to our target. We're shooting for 152, so in a few minutes it'll drop down right to where it needs to be. And then we start a timer for 60 minutes and let all that water absorb all the starches out of the grain and turn them into sugar. So I got a little ahead of myself earlier and I didn't explain to you guys what we're brewing today. So what we're brewing is Russian River's Pliny the Elder Clone. This recipe was provided by Vinnie, who's the brewmaster and owner of Russian River Brewery. But here is the recipe. Pretty straightforward. You got some 2-row pale malt, some Crystal 45, some carapils, some dextrose.
Did you have your peeps today?
And the hop profile is Columbus, Simcoe, and Centennial. Alright, so right now we are doing our mash out, which is we are heating our mash up to 170 degrees Fahrenheit, which is going to stop enzymatic activity. And then after it reaches that temperature, we are going to begin with the sparge.
Oh, quick, dude. Some more.
So we're sparging the grains now with 170 degree water. This is going to remove the remaining sugars out of the grains and give us our 8 gallons of wort pre-boil. Alright, so we just finished sparging and we hit our 8-gallon mark of wort, and here it is. The sparging took us about an hour, which was really good, because if you do it really slowly, you make sure that you get all the sugar out of the grains. So what we're doing now is we're going to bring this up to a boil, and once it starts boiling, we will start our hop additions. Alright, I also forgot to mention that we are adding our dextrose in right now to raise our gravity a little bit. That's what the recipe calls for, 3/4 of a pound of dextrose. So we're going to add that right now. Some nice golden wort. If only you guys could smell this. Oh man, that smells good. Alright, so...
Wait, Jessica, I thought we were putting hops. Are you gonna put in the hops?
Yeah, I'll wait for... So we just got our 8 gallons of wort to boil. So we're gonna start with our hop additions. If you look at the recipe here, our first hop addition is Columbus. We're doing a 90-minute boil, so we're going to throw these in right at the beginning, right now. So here's our bag of Columbus hops. And we're going to throw those in and start our timer at 90 minutes.
All right.
Go ahead and dump them in. Oh, shit.
Did you cancel it?
Alright, so here's the word after we added our first hop addition of those Columbus hops. You can see the kind of green foam that's forming at the top. It's putting out some real pungent odors now too. It smells really good. And our next hop addition is going to be another addition of Columbus hops with 45 minutes left into the boil. So we'll come back in 45 minutes. Alright, so now we are going to do our second hop addition, which is the Columbus at 45 minutes left in the into the boil. And there's the hops. Let's turn this down.
Throw it in there.
Wow, that was climactic. Alright, so now we have 15 more minutes until our third hop addition, which is Simcoe hops. So we'll be back in 15. Okay, so we're gonna be rolling up on our third hop addition here in a minute, and that is gonna be the 1 ounce of Simcoe hops. Alright, here's our third hop addition of 1 ounce of Simcoe hops. Turn the flame back up, bring it back up to a rolling boil. Wow, that smells so good. Okay, so we are approaching the end of our boil, where we are going to add in our last amount of hops, which are 1 ounce of Centennial and 2.5 ounces of Simcoe. And these are really going to be for aroma mostly. Okay, so part of the next step in the process is to, you want to throw your wort chiller into your boiling wort during the last few minutes of the boil to sanitize it. So I'm going to throw that into the wort that's boiling here in a couple minutes. Okay, so we got about 5 minutes left in our boil. So we're gonna go ahead and throw our wort chiller into the wort to sanitize it. So I got that in there. Alright. Okay, so our boil's over and we're now doing our last hop addition, which is 1 ounce of Centennial and 2.5 ounces of Simcoe.
Need to do the steam melt of the bag.
And then, like I said earlier, these hops are primarily for aroma, not so much for bittering. Alright, so now we got our wort chiller going. Kind of a weird design, but we hook it up to a hose. And it runs water through the copper coil, which is in the wort. Comes out this other hose. And then Bobby waters his plants with it.
Bingo!
And that's how you conserve water, people.
Saving water.
So we finished chilling our wort down to 67 degrees, and then we poured it into this glass carboy with a gigantic funnel out of that pot right there. We hit our original gravity that the recipe called for right on the money, which was 1.072. So that's good. We just pitched our 2 packets of yeast, and now we're gonna shake this thing up, aerate it, and stick it in a closet for a couple weeks.